Alright, so a few days ago, I went ahead and applied for this job over here. And I got a chat message on the Indeed website from someone named Emma at this company saying that I should ask any questions that I had or something along those lines. I'm not going to open that up or get a screenshot of it. That I don't care. And of course, I froze up. I didn't know what to say. So I just sat there for at least an hour before I typed back at them. And basically, I think what I eventually typed back was, I don't know what to say, but I also don't want to ignore this. Feel free to ask me any questions that you have. Now, because I had waited at least an hour, it was after 5 o'clock when I sent that message. So, end of the day, likely that person went home and, or shut their laptop if they're working at home and never saw it. Which I can't blame them for, but so later in the day, I made a video going over their website and the issues that I had noticed earlier in the day, because I looked these people up before I decided to apply for that job. And there are some issues with their website. So I made that screen recording video. I spent it was probably at least 45 minutes long. I managed to cut it down to 15 minutes though. because I did a lot of things that in that screen recording that don't need to be there. For the purpose that it was intended for, which was to get their attention of the problems that I see on their website. I don't need to show them the 15 to 20 minutes of me going down a rabbit hole trying to find the CSS value that I suspect is causing an issue for one of the elements on the page. And then when I finally get there, I realize, oh, that was the wrong CSS rule that I should have been looking for in the first place. I don't need to show them all that. I mean, and that was just like one instance of one thing I did. I don't even know why I'm explaining it off. I just want to make another video to check it on their techie website without, so I can send a link to someone else. And yeah, because that 15-minute video that I made, I'm never going to link it to anybody but Emma, unless someone else from the company contacts me. So let's go ahead and inspect this here. I'll show you the number one problem that I noticed. I mean, this is on the main page of the site. You can't actually click any of these contact buttons unless you're extremely careful. If you go to the very edge here, you can hit them. You can then click them. And the reason that's going on is because you've got these left and right buttons to control the slider. And they are covering up. I thought I had hit the right thing, but I did not apparently. So right here, when I hover over the element in the DevTools, it shows up. You can see it's covering up that contact button. And I didn't explain exactly how to fix this issue, or exactly how I would fix it in that video that I sent them. I basically just said, maybe you can have your CSS people figure out a way to make it so that this never happens. It's not hard to fix at all. They do run a custom CSS, a custom CMS. So it's not WordPress, it's something that they have created in-house. So, because of that, I don't know what's going on their back end, their admin panels. They are using Bootstrap, the Bootstrap framework. So there's that. Bootstrap does a lot of... I found evidence that they haven't done anything to counteract stuff, CSS, that Bootstrap gives you, like, as a reset. So, for instance, one of the things that is commonly done as part of the reset CSS methodology is they set all of your unordered list, ordered list, all of your list elements and the list item elements, they set padding and margin to 0 on those things. And I understand why that's done, but it creates problems if you don't do it intelligently. So it looks like there was something on here. This is just container, so I probably wouldn't want to put the rule on that. Let me go back to this guy here and let's just see what happens. Oh, I don't know my left from my right. Jeez. I hate when I do that. And I got pretty close with that 6rem. But the button is actually a little bit wider. Let me inspect that and get the exact width of it, I guess. Interesting, it actually... Oh, because I'm on this span, has a width of 2rem. Okay, did they do rems on the button? No, they went with percent. Oh, jeez. That is something that I hate. I hate people that use percents for things, but you know what? If you set that to the same value, then your buttons are never going to get cut off. Your text will never be behind that button. It actually... no, that's good. Yeah, top and bottom 0, left and right 15%. So, oop. So as you can see now, where the padding shows up on the left, easy peasy. Another thing that they're doing on this website, though, this element here is an H6, and I understand how this happens. Whoever made this page does not understand the difference between semantics and presentation. So, HTML elements are for semantic concerns. I have known this forever. I don't know how many years. I can't even think back that far, honestly. CSS is for presentational concerns, and your HTML markup is for semantic concerns. I didn't even know the word semantic before I started figuring out HTML and CSS. So, but yeah, the way this happens is they're using whoever made this page is using your HTML heading elements as visual design elements. And that's not, you should, 99% of the time, you should not be using any HTML element because it gives you the right look that you want. That's just a wrong way of doing things. And if you are creating your own CMS in-house, and you are also developing your own themes, you should be able to create things in such a way that will prevent people from having to do this kind of stuff. To use an H6 tag because what is this stuff here? Because they want a 24 pixel font size with a font weight of 700. That's the only reason they used an H6 here. Because they didn't know the better and proper way of achieving this visual effect on the text. So they just used an H6 tag. Do I have that plugin in this browser? I have a plugin in the browser that will show things. Got this Ahrefs. So they've got multiple H1 tags on the main page too. And the first heading tag is not an H1, it's search. And I haven't looked into why search doesn't actually show up in my own browser. I don't care. It should not be an H5 tag though. And I do wonder if, again, H5 was chosen because they liked the font type that they got when they used the H5 there. I don't know. But yeah, but all of these H1s, this is not great, but it's probably because they're all in these slides. And so that's why you've got all these H1s. I couldn't tell you how to fix that immediately, other than I don't know. There's not a good way. I'll leave it at that. There's not a good way to correct this. But now that I'm saying that, I hate saying that kind of stuff, so I'm kind of trying to think of a better way to do it. I mean, if you made them H2, it would be less offensive to me instead of H1, but it is what it is. I wouldn't lose any sleep over this, I guess. But this H6 here, not only is it wrong to use it for getting the visual design that you want to see here, it's also wrong because you shouldn't go from an H1 to H6 in your hierarchical logical data structure. It just doesn't make any sense. Your headings are supposed to be used like chapters and sub-chapters in a book. Does anybody read books anymore? Probably not. I don't know. Yeah, you should go H1, H2, H3, H4. You should have all of the in-betweens should be in place before you use an H6 in order for it to be logically correct. See, and like these H2s, they're fine because they are subheadings of the H1. These H5s at the bottom, which are in the footer, these are a problem too. And as we get down to the footer, this is where I noticed the problem that I mentioned earlier with, they're using Bootstrap, and Bootstrap resets margin and padding to 0 on a bunch of elements. And if you don't notice that, if you don't think about this kind of stuff, you don't bother to change it. And obviously, whoever worked on this website doesn't think about this kind of stuff that I do. Because when all of these links are a single line of text, like main menu services, these are fine. But then this our blog, each link is more than one line of text, and it becomes difficult to distinguish that there are actually 3 different entities under our blog. It's difficult to determine visually that there are 3 different links under our blog, because the space between each line of text is too close. It's too similar to the space that's between each block of text. Let's put it that way. I'm trying to think of like how to explain this like verbally rather than just like look at my mouse kind of stuff. But yeah, so where is that 0 rule? BS gutter Y, and it's inherited from div? No, that doesn't make sense. And I haven't looked at Bootstrap in a long time. It's been more than 3 years at least. But I was very familiar with it at one time. So I don't know exactly what their gutter X and gutter Y means, like within the Bootstrap realm of thing. But I don't understand how that's getting inherited from the div. So like, I was expecting to find a rule for UL and LI, but that's not exactly how they're doing it here. This is an app.css, which they're not just using like Bootstrap as its own standalone CSS file. They've got other things in there that they've rolled into their CSS file along with Bootstrap, which helps to reduce network requests, but there's probably still too much CSS for their website. There's probably still CSS that's not used. Okay, so that's interesting. Let me go with one rem. And something changed, but it didn't actually change the LI element. So yeah, I don't know. Put that back to 0. See, it's telling me that these are getting inherited, and it doesn't make sense that they would be. Padding doesn't get inherited. So why? I don't understand why. And this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about right now. I'm just kind of like thinking out loud, trying to figure out what I'm seeing here. This is the kind of stuff I would cut out of any video that I would send to someone to show them the problems on their website. So anytime, this is probably true not just for myself, but back when, trying to think how to phrase this, earlier in my life, I shot videos, like outside touch grass IRL type stuff. You know, weddings, special events, and fun stuff too, like music videos. We made some stupid parody of Star Wars sitcom type thing. I was a production assistant an unpaid production assistant on a commercial shoot once. But anyway, because I have all that experience, and back then the internet wasn't as much of a thing as it is now, to learn about like video and film production, I pretty much had to, you know, find stuff on VHS tapes where they talked about and showed things, and find books and magazines that talked about and showed things. And one of the things I picked up from all of that self-taught learning kind of crap is it's a general good rule of thumb: when you're shooting video, always shoot at least 3 times more footage than you think you're going to need. Because when you get back home and start editing it all, you're going to realize most of it's garbage. So the way this all circles back into what I'm doing right now, talking into my stupid microphone, recording my screen. If you ever see a video from me that's like this and it's 10 minutes long, you can guarantee I spent way more than 30 minutes on it. Probably at least 30 minutes just in the screen recording part. But then if I actually go back and edit it to make it shorter, you're probably going to want to 3x that 30 minutes again. Oh god, because when I edit things, when I edit videos, you're watching through it at least one time just to make your edit decisions and cut things out, right? Then you're going to watch it at least a second time to make sure everything still makes sense and there's nothing more that you want to cut out. And then I, at least, am going to watch it at least a third time just to double check my own insanity and make sure I didn't miss anything. At least a third time. It's fair to say I watch some of the videos that I edit down at least 10 times before uploading it anywhere. And I still sometimes, like, I don't know. If I have watched one of the videos I've edited 10 times, I'm probably not going to find anything later where I was like, yeah, I should have cut that out too. Oh, God. Did I mention that the video that I made for this company and then sent them a link to in chat at 2 in the morning, did I mention that I didn't get a response to that yet? Did I mention that according to my view counter on the video, nobody's watched it yet? Yeah, that's where we are now, at least 3 days after I sent them that link. Ugh. Their website is still bothering me. Anyway, back to this LI issue. So another one of the issues in this area of the web page, Google's page speed complains that these link heights are too small. They want your link heights to be at least 24 pixel tall. It's a touch target issue, and that gets reported on the desktop page speed report now, not just the mobile. So I thought that was interesting. So it sounds to me like you should never go with a line height of less than 1.5 possibly. Let me let's just go to this guy here. See, if I hover over it, it gets highlighted over in the browser, and you should be able to see 268.5 by 19.2. So that is 19.2 pixels tall. And come back over to the right here. Our font size is 16 pixels. Once I find it, yeah, right there, 16 pixels. Line height is 19.2. So that's what I was talking about earlier. Your line height should probably be at 1.5. And I just need to... I like Chrome's inspector a little bit better, because it will let you click on things over here and it jumps into your CSS list where it actually is. With Firefox, it doesn't work that way. But I know there's this line height is set somewhere at 1.2. It took me a while to find it the last time. Maybe it's one of the bootstrap variables. Can I filter by a value? Apparently not. There we are. Yeah, here we are. So I want to go to this guy here and change that. Excellent. So once I change that to 1.5, you can see how you got more space between the single liners. And I would say arguably under our blog it's a little bit easier to visually distinguish that there are 3 different things there, but it's still not where I want it to be. So now though, when I hover over that link, you can see it's now 24 pixels tall. And that happened because I changed the line height to 1.5. So if your font size is 16 pixels and your line height is 1.5, you just 16 times 1.5 is 24, because half of 16 is 8. Very, very simple stuff. It's math that even I can't mess up. And that makes me wish I would have thought more about it when I recorded my initial video that I actually sent to this company. Because I was thinking more long, because I noticed that the LIs have a padding of 0 because of a reset rule in the CSS. Because I noticed that's what I was focused on first. But no, the line height would be a better solution as far as that touch target problem goes. No padding on your LIs down here is still a problem in my opinion, though. Still a problem. So annoying. Let me do padding. See, there is no class. We got menu item, and that's where the padding should be on, but there are no rules for menu item, I don't think. Because at the top is where a rule for the menu item class would be, but they're just not here. So maybe they do strip out a bunch of things from their bootstrap CSS that they think isn't needed. I don't know. I have no idea. So yeah, dot menu item. Just trying to think. Yeah. Even just a little bit, like 0.25 rem, gives you a nice. But actually I would do EM for padding, so that it's relative to the font size of this element, rather than being relative to the font size of your root EM. But even that's enough to make me happier, as far as being able to visually determine that there are 3 different items here. And yes, it puts more space between all the others. That it is what it is. Now, this whole time that I've been focused on mainly just these 3 links under our blog, and a little bit, a little bit the others to the left. Did anybody notice that under Get in Touch we've got a lot more space between our 2 items than anything else in this section? Did anybody else notice, or was it just me? Because it's like you had no space. You had 0 padding and a stupid small line height between all this stuff here, and then over here you went overboard with the space between your 2 things. If I had made this, it wouldn't have come out that way. The spacing between all of these things would be consistent, would be the same. This is why, for many years, I have refused to call myself a designer. I'm never going to make a web page on my own that has floating stuff like this, because I'm not a designer. I don't think this kind of decoration adds any value to the page. A contact button like this with that gradient on it, yeah, maybe, but the way it's angled on the left and right, I would probably never do that, because I don't think it adds any value. I mean, now that I sit here and try and think about it logically, I can see where maybe they got those angles from the logo, since the color definitely came from the logo. And that is kind of a nice touch once I noticed that. So it's not that I hate it, it's just that I have never done that kind of style on my own because I don't think it adds any value until I notice it's in keeping with their logo. So here I'm going to take back my statement that it doesn't add any value. It does to some extent, and I hope, you know what, let's find out. Let's find out if those angles are the same in the logo and the button. Let's find out. Yeah, they're pretty close. I don't know if they're exactly the same, but they are pretty close to the same angle. Okay, so now let me inspect over here. Now that I've got my menu item rule. So these aren't even list items over here, and why am I so blind? Why can't I find the rule here? Margin bottom is what they did. 30 pixels. No. No, 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 no. This should be getting the same rule that gives the padding over here. So, and it's a div. Menu item. Div. Menu item. Okay. So now, that was 30 pixels before. The space between them. So now, let's go back to our one of these things here where I know that I did it. Here, yeah, this is the padding I had before. So if we wanted to do something similar, I can do something similar and still have a rem or an EM rule. Just make it 2EM. See, now everything down here has about 30 pixels between them. Isn't that better? No? I'm so surprised that someone would say no. Yeah, I'll just go back to 0.25 between everything. See, the other thing with the things under Get It in Touch, they have the little icon to the left of them, so that helps. That helps to visually determine there are two separate things here. Two separate links, two separate menu items, perhaps, even though they're done as divs here that didn't have that class name on them. Let me go back to this. And they got some interesting attributes on the A tag. And that's what I was kind of wondering if they had anything in here that would indicate that they're tracking clicks on the phone number or something like that. And it looks like they might. I don't know. I don't know what the UW might be in here. It's probably short for some kind of pre-rolled package that they use. But since this company allegedly rolls their own CMS, maybe they rolled their own telephone tracking too. No idea. And they got no tracking on their G page link. Oh, that's just the Google Maps link. Okay. I was thinking maybe it was a Google site. I don't know if you could actually track clicks to something like that either. Anyway, I don't know. I want to move on to the next thing that I remember. And the reason I remember it is because I thought this was such a bad oversight that it really made me question whether I really wanted to be working for a company like this or not. But I don't know their situation, and based on the job description I was reading, it sounds like I might be in the position to be the guy that fixes these things and or makes sure that they never happen again anywhere else. So, just gotta find it again. Ah, it was right here. The search engine optimization page. So this page is all about SEO, and anybody that knows anything about SEO understands that your page title, which you can see by looking at your tab title, the words in the tab, you can see that that's the text that's supposed to show up on Google when your page shows up in Google. And do I still have that? No. So here. This is how this page shows up in Google. You got the title text there, just like up in the tab. The evolution marketing words at the end of it's probably just too long, so Google cuts that off. But then this text down here, this is text that's supposed to be pulled from your meta description tags. I mean, this is SEO 101 kind of stuff. And there's a space after the comma. Now, using my Ahrefs plugin, it tells me the description is missing, well, specifically the meta description. This is your SEO page, and you haven't even SEO'd your SEO page. Are you heckin' for real? Are you hecking serious? I mean, this just blew my mind. I don't know who they think these screenshots are going to impress, but they don't impress me. Because they're small, I can't click them to make them bigger. I can't read anything in the images because they're so small. You know, this one up here is a little bit bigger, but what is it actually showing me? I guess URL errors on a smartphone. So they're showing me 0 server errors. Why? Because WordPress causes server errors because of how vulnerable it is. Yeah, no, that's... They're selling their CMS, their custom rolled created CMS here on their SEO page. I don't necessarily agree with that, but yes, it is a search engine issue if your website is giving people error pages. So yes, because if they click on your link from Google and they get an error, they're gonna just go somewhere else. I mean, so I get how this is kind of an SEO thing. I guess. And I would see, WordPress is open source. Anybody can look at the code. Anybody can do anything they want. Can I open this image in a new tab? Let me see if because I want to see the dates here. So that is interesting. The looks like this goes from about November 1 to November 25. So 25 days of all those pages with errors. So whoever's website this was, did they up and find a different marketing company immediately to deal with their WordPress website? Did it take this evolution marketing company 25 days to build them a new site on their own CMS? This just opens up so many questions in my mind that can never be answered. I don't know if I had like an interview with these fine folks, if it would even be appropriate for me to go into this kind of stuff with them. But I am genuinely curious what happened here. How did this all go down? And since those errors actually start before November 1st, but that's where the big bump is, it's at November 1st. But since those errors started before, that puts that 25-day timeline out even longer. Now they claim they came in and fixed them all, but somebody putting on their website, this is why you don't use WordPress. That statement makes me think they really don't know anything about WordPress other than they don't like it. And because they don't like it. If you're using WordPress, you need to understand that you need to stay on top of your updates for plugins and the WordPress, for the core updates, of WordPress itself. You need to stay on top of that stuff. And if you can't commit to doing that, yes, this is exactly what you can expect to happen. Everything in WordPress, almost everything in WordPress is open source. Anybody can look at the source code. Now, if somebody figures out a vulnerability, they're going to go out and exploit that vulnerability, right? And honestly, if I knew of a vulnerability in a plugin or the core code base of WordPress itself that I could use on your website, I'm not going to do something like this. I'm not going to make it so that your website starts throwing error pages at people. No. I'm going to be redirecting people that go to your website to my network of websites that generates me income. That's what people actually tend to do from what I've seen. Now, the people that are maybe more of a script kiddie, they're young, they're just getting into this stuff, and they do it for fun. They might just deface your website. So maybe they would get a kick out of making all your pages on your website throw error codes. But I think they're more likely to do stuff like defacing your website, graffitiing it, putting their own messages on pages, or just deleting everything for shits and giggles. This server error we've still got over 1 million not found here. And that's a 404 server error. So why does this server error tab say 0, while not found says, almost 1.5 million? I would love to know what actually happened in this case. But yeah, this is your SEO page, and you haven't even done SEO on it. That's what I was getting at here. And let me look at this text here. That's just a paragraph. Wow, that's amazing. You inspect this one. That's just a paragraph. Wow, that's amazing. And this is custom written CSS here because it's just targeting the paragraph tag. That's not how I would do it. And actually, Bootstrap probably has. Let me check something here real quick. Okay, let's go to Bootstrap. Let's see if they still have that lead text class that I remember. Go into our docs. Man. Do they have a typography section in here? Text utilities, maybe it's under there. Text alignment, wrapping and overflow, word break, transform, font size, FS123456. That's how you make stuff emulate your heading tags. Font weight and italics, line height. I wonder if that 1.2 is the default line height that Bootstrap is going with. I would almost bet not, because this is more than 1.2 here in this paragraph, but this one here, ugh, this looks like 1 or something. I'm going to inspect this. Where's that line height rule? Right here. What? Line height 16 pixels. Yeah, so that line height is 1 for some reason. Okay, they're using the classes. That was the example. Good. I feel like such an idiot. It's like the answer was right there in front of my face. So line height 1 is 1. That's why there's no space on the line heights. And I just, if I would have spent a few more seconds looking at this whole box of text, I would have understood. Oh, this is the example. Hey, here's the code down here. I didn't even have to inspect element. But small. What is that line height set at? It's set 20 pixels. So 1.25. Oh man, and they're using important. But whenever I write my own CSS, including when I'm doing kind of a framework type, gargantuan set of rules and values type thing, I avoid the use of important at all costs. Because it's so hard to override. But within Bootstrap, these are utility classes, and they use important on their utility classes, and it makes sense for the way they do things. I myself don't do things that way. Now I was hoping to find a lead text here. Where's the search? They used to have a search in their docs. Do they not anymore? .5. Okay. Very good, Bootstrap. That's what I was wondering. The default is not 1.2. The default Bootstrap seems to be 1.5, which is better than 1.2. What's the line height on this? 26 pixels. Huh. So dot content they put 1.5 on. So that's a container of some kind that the footer is outside of, I guess. Alright, see, because I'm like 49 minutes into this screen recording at this point, and my initial thought is I'm not going to edit this down. I'm just going to upload it to YouTube and give a link to some friends I know, and they probably won't watch it, but it's fine. I don't care. And then after a week or 2 weeks, I'll probably make it publicly visible on that YouTube channel. Because I'm sure this company has probably gotten tons of resumes to sift through, and I know my history. My life experience tells me I am not going to get this job. And anyway. So I'm just basically happy that these blocks of paragraph text are not actually heading tags on this page. That's kind of good. Let's inspect this guy. Okay, it just took a second for it to get there. It's an H2. And I think it was this one. Yeah, this is an H3. And I guess it kind of makes sense, but there's too much text in here to be the heading. And the reason I remember looking at this before is because this is where our space before the comma is. Now, if we go back to our Google result, there's the space before the comma. So it's kind of interesting that Google ignored all this text up here and came down here to pull text for the description. I don't know why they came all the way down here. I guess they think all the stuff above here is useless nonsense in a way. Google thinks this is the best text on the page, I guess, to put in your meta description. So that could be something to think about. Maybe that could be a valid SEO strategy, is to not put any text into a meta description tag until after you see it as populated into Google search results, see the text that Google chose, and then put that into your meta description tag. I don't know. I don't think that sounds like a pleasant process to go through, but maybe it would work to get your website more clicks. Was there anything else on this page that bothers me? H3, right. So if I didn't already say, there's way too much text in here for an H3 tag. You shouldn't have a sentence of text for H3 like this. But then this one is an even bigger offender when it comes to too much text for an H3 tag. As far as recommendations goes, this one here shouldn't be a heading tag at all. It shouldn't be a heading element at all. This one here, I think, does make sense to be a heading tag, a heading element, but I really wish there was less text in here and it wasn't a sentence with a period and sentence case. Because headings should be title case. They just should be. And when I'm writing CSS, that's how I write it. All my headings are going to be using title case, not sentence case. It helps to reinforce the idea that sentences should not be in headings. When someone else comes along and adds content to the page, and they see that every word gets capitalized when they're typing out their sentence into a heading tag, it sends a subtle visual clue to them that maybe they shouldn't be doing that. In an ideal world, at least, that's how it would work, in my mind. Depending on, like I said, these guys roll their own CMS, so I would probably also put stuff on the admin side of things for the, whoever is creating a page, putting text content on the page. I would probably try and find a way to add some hints, notes, or whatever that say something along the lines of, you shouldn't be using headings for visual style. I don't know exactly how I would do that, but it's something I would consider thinking about if I were working on the back end kind of things to help out people that actually write content for the pages. Anyway. Let me check out their YouTube page. I don't remember where it was now. Maybe it was under social media. Yeah. So something, was it this page? No. I think this is the same page that icon links to. I don't like the multicolored icons either. I think that looks kind of trashy. I like icons that follow your branding or your overall color scheme for your website better. But that's just a personal preference. I know I had found a page somewhere on this site that has a bunch of YouTube videos embedded on it. Maybe I'm crazy and not remembering correctly though. What is this? It looks like probably an iframe embed of some kind. Yeah. OptimizeLocation.com partner. That's interesting. You are not allowed to access this page. They don't seem to have like a front page meant for the general public. That's interesting. So I was wondering if this iframe that's embedded here, is this like another product slash service that this Evolution Marketing Company also owns, maintains, or is this a third party iframe? I mean, it's third party as far as the domain name goes, but I don't know. Let's try the video creation page. Maybe this is the one. So you see how long it takes this YouTube video to load in. There's the thumbnails there now. Now this page probably has multiple, and we're going to have to wait. Oh yeah, look at that. Look how long it takes for all of this stuff to load in. I'm not on slow internet here. I'm on fiber internet. This is not me using it like a mobile connection or anything like that. So I'll show you. You can use page speed to demonstrate that it's not just me. And it's going to take some time, so nah. There we go. Your performance is all the way down at 29 on mobile. And it's at 50 on desktop. If I were to rebuild this website with WordPress, I could get 100 on desktop performance and it would be green on mobile performance, which is over 90. Anyway, if you come through here, you're going to find that all of these YouTube embeds are part of your page speed problem here. Alright, I had to run away for a second there. Sorry. I lost my train of thought a little bit. Right, so I was talking about the YouTube stuff, all the scripts that get loaded by YouTube. You don't even need to go through a page speed test to see that. You can actually just go to the network tab of your developer tools, and I'm going to make sure I got disable cache there. Control-Shift-R to reload the page. And you can see just how many of these server requests go to Google and YouTube because of all of the videos on the page. And I do have a plugin that's blocking some of them. Don't worry about it. That's not part of the problem. And I don't know exactly how to read all this stuff over here, other than to say we are now at 41 seconds and things are still loading on the page. Visually it's fine. but it's because all of this stuff, all of these YouTube embeds are on the page that we are still loading stuff, even at 41 seconds. And I just noticed here that your little breadcrumb style of links at the top, they're kind of getting cut off by the navbar area. You know what? It's probably fine in 1080p, right? Oh no, even in 1080p, it ain't working. So yeah, big fail, guys. I do have a solution for this YouTube nonsense, where when you embed a YouTube video on a page, it makes so many requests to YouTube for scripts and nonsense. I do have a solution for that. Anyway, I don't remember now if there was anything else on their website that stood out to me as like, this is terrible. And see, even when we were leaving the page, you still saw some YouTube stuff show up over here. Wow, this page seems to load a little slow too. Actually, I'm glad I came to this page because I remembered something else that bothered me about it. You got a lot of requests to the cdnuserway.org. Oh, you got a Google Maps request on here. Okay, is that? Where's the close button? Oh, it's over here. Are you serious right now? The close button doesn't work? Are you serious? Is this a serious website? I mean, it's bad enough that your border effect on the button is cut off at the bottom, but the close button isn't even working. What if I hit the escape key? Okay, the escape key works, thankfully. I wanted to scroll to the bottom to see if there's a Google map at the bottom. There is not. So why are we getting a maps.googleapis.com request on this page? That's interesting, isn't it? There's no Google map on this page. Let me see if I can find that in the inspector, I guess. Why are you embedding Google Maps scripts on every page if you don't have a Google Maps embed on every page? I don't understand. That shouldn't be happening. That's part of your page speed issues. That shouldn't be the way you do things. But the reason I said that I was glad that I came back to this page is because it made me remember they've got these little drop-down selectors here, so you can filter, which is nice. You can just filter the kind of websites that you want to see that are in their portfolio page. So let's go ahead and look at the furniture websites. And we have to wait for the website to reload. That's not ideal, but I don't immediately know how to fix that, and I don't know if I could actually figure out. The bigger problem to me, though, is now that the page is reloaded, industry all is what it says here. It doesn't say furniture. So let's go ahead and, well, let's just do mobile apps for fun. Wait for the page to reload. And again, it says you are currently viewing all. So how do I get back to all? If I just click all, nothing happens. Same thing with industry. If I click all, nothing happens. This is not a good user experience, is what I'm getting at. And if somebody that owns this website ever sees it, hopefully they can figure out how to make this better. Because I can't tell you how to do that. I'm gonna stop and go back for a second, because while I was blabbering, I noticed something else that bothers the crap out of me, and that's the space below your credits here. This is your footer section. This should be at the bottom of every page. And whoever did the layout and design for this website didn't anticipate for someone with a vertical oriented browser like I'm using here, like many phone users experience websites. So if I were to pull this page up on my phone, am I going to see this big empty space down here as well? Maybe, maybe not. What if I did it on a tablet? I mean, I'm only 1280 pixels wide here. I'm not doing anything super crazy. But like I said, if anybody that owns this website or works on this website ever comes across this video, maybe this is something you can think about. Maybe figure out a way of making it so this kind of stuff never happens. No website that I touch will probably ever do this, though. Back in my day, yeah, back when web designers and developers started caring about mobile, they had ridiculously complicated mobile device detection schemes that they implemented, and I hated every single one of them because they were stupidly complicated and would break when new phones got released or new versions of some phone software got released. If you just make sure that your design works in a more vertical orientation browser window, you reduce your chances of errors without having to use complicated JavaScript or any other goofy stuff to do mobile detection, mobile device detection, which there's a lot of websites that still do that kind of stuff, and it bothers me to no end, actually. I actually made a video about it. Want to see it? Here it go. Wix! Create a website without limits! So, yeah. There's an example of Wix doing the kind of stuff that I was talking about with overly complicated mobile device detection. They don't simply write CSS to make their websites responsive. They rely on some kind of complicated mobile device detection still, because when I resized my browser for Wix, I can do it right now. Let's do it live. When I resize my browser, the website breaks. Oh, get out. Get out. Today it works. I wonder if they actually saw that video. Ah, man. Man. Boy, do I have egg on my face now. I tell you what, I got the video, though. I made a video about it. I made a video. Video where it never happened. I videoed. Holy crap, that is funny. So in 2024, Wix finally made their own website, their own page, properly responsive. Good job, Wix. It only took you how many years to get to this point? What was the iPhone released in 2007, 2008? It only took you 16 years to get on my level? Oy, oy, oy. So that makes me think maybe I should talk about what my level is a little bit, I guess. I'm not a programmer. But I understand HTML and CSS extremely well. So those are the problems I go after, and those are the problems I fix. And I get really upset when I find a problem that I think should be able to be fixed with just in CSS, and it can't. I have to go to JavaScript or something. I still get upset about that. Just because programming languages like JavaScript, PHP, and others, they don't come as easily to me as HTML and CSS have. I don't know exactly why that is, but it is what it is. I know how to do some things in JavaScript and PHP, but I'll be real honest about a lot of it's copy pasting and then trying to change things to do what I want to do. And I know being honest about myself in this way is not a way to sell myself, because how many years have I been doing this nonsense for? At least 24. And yeah, my ability to land a job doing this stuff is, my track record is not good there. Once I get a job, my track record of holding on to that job is pretty good. This last one only lasting 3 years really bothers me. I don't know exactly what happened there, but I will say that I was intentionally being sent signals that there were no problems up until the morning I logged on to my stuff for work and my calendar was empty. Everything had been removed. All the signals they were sending to me was, everything's fine, don't worry about it. It's fine, don't worry about it. You're fine, don't worry about it. That kind of stuff. We love you kind of stuff. So, and even in my little exit interview, they essentially blew a bunch of smoke up my butt, told me how great I was, how awesome I was. They just couldn't figure out how to use me at this point in time, is what they told me. Which, let's be real, it's a lot of smoke up my butt. There were some management changes that had been made in the preceding months, and I think that's why they could no longer figure out what to do with me. I think that due to those management changes, I think they highly preferred people to be in the office every day. So I think they weren't comfortable with me being a remote person. And they knew I am not someone that's going to be happy going into the office every day working on a tiny laptop. They knew. I never made that a secret. They had me come in to the office every day for the first 2 months I was working there, and I didn't complain. Well, I did complain about the laptop that they gave me, but I didn't complain too much about actually driving to the office every day. I mean, since it was in the wintertime, and it was getting dark early, I did mention a few times about the number of deer I almost hit on the 45-minute plus drive back home after work every night. I could say more about that last job, but I don't want to. But once I get started, it's hard to shut me up about it. Anyway, alright, took a little bit of a walk, come back to forget about all the stuff that was running through my head. Let's go to this portfolio page again. What I'm debating right now is auditing, like doing a proper audit, well, a more proper audit rather than just visually looking at pages. Auditing some of their websites that they have on their portfolio. And this Lions National Bank, I think this one is new. I think the sheriff one was the first one listed the last time. And as we showed earlier, we've got our close button here that's not going to work on your modal pop-up. Good job. Good job, developers, right? Yeah. Let's go ahead and look at this website and check it out. It's just been launched, I'm assuming. So it should be like perfect. So do I need to... Oh yeah, we've got a CDN here. 2 CDNs. So now that I've allowed all that JavaScript, the menus still don't open when I hover them. So that's fine. That's kind of a standard thing. I don't necessarily like it. So yeah, I was thinking there was going to be a ton of pages on this site, and there are Let me check this. Interesting. Because on this one, they've got, where was it? Yeah, web frameworks. Livewire is one of the frameworks. They don't have Livewire on that bank website, but I'm pretty sure they had it on the sheriff website. Yeah, Laravel and Livewire. So I came away with the assumption that Laravel and Livewire is something they use on every site that they make, but no Livewire on the bank website. And I don't know exactly what Livewire is or what they're using it for. I never dug into that. JavaScript is not really my area of interest as much as just CSS. And there's quite a few pages on this site as well, but I'm going to go ahead and do a more proper audit on this site just to see what I find. And I will probably cut the actual audit process out of this video. Okay, now that the audit's done, we've got some high priority issue with 27 non-indexable pages, 49 canonicalized. Those often aren't real issues. But there's one security HTTP URLs. We've got multiple H1s. H1 missing on 17 pages. 62 images missing alt attributes. So yeah, I'm assuming, especially since this Lions National Bank website seems to be new. I don't believe it was here the last time I looked at the website. I'm assuming the ones that at the top left are the newest ones that they've launched. So this is a fairly recently launched site, and it doesn't pass my audit. So let's just open up that page that has a bad link. It's this link right here. Now, this looks like a blog post. That's an interesting URL structure you got going on here. I suppose it's probably fine. I have read some things from alleged SEO experts that say having dates in your URL path is a bad idea. I like it because it lets me know when something was posted. And when it comes to something like this is a sheriff's website, public information 2023. I think it actually makes sense here. So I wouldn't worry about it here too much after I noticed that. But yeah, this link here actually has HTTP in it, and it's a link to your own site. Hopefully it redirects to HTTPS. It does. Don't worry about it. But since we're doing that, let's see. Let me get the network open just for this. I want to see if HTTP, come on, HTTP without the www redirects too, just to make sure. Alright, you're doing good. You're doing good. We go back up here, we got a 301 redirect. You're doing good. I believe that's done at the DNS level usually, which I was never allowed to touch at the last job. There was one person that handled all of that and nobody else, so that's the way they operated. Was I capable of doing more than I was actually tasked with doing at that job? Absolutely. Did they want me doing it? Nope, not at all. Not at all. They have one person for that, and that's the way it is. And they were fine at their job as far as that stuff went. So it was pretty rare that 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 person actually asked me about something related to DNS that he couldn't figure out. I would say it was extremely rare. Yeah. It did happen a few times though. Next, let's look at the non-indexable pages, see if I can find anything interesting there. Okay, so after looking at the indexable and canonical pages, I'm not too worried about those on this site. And looking at this directory tree graph, there are really a lot of pages on this site. So these are interesting. It's pagination of blog post index pages. Same for these. And since it's telling me the response code is 200 on all of these, it's probably like the canonicalization thing, where you canonicalize, your pagination links are canonicalized to the parents, so they won't be. Google's not going to index your page 53241 pages. They're only going to index your 2024 page, if that's how they have their canonicals set. So this is just a 301 redirect. Perhaps it's an old page that no longer exists for whatever reason on this website. Same thing with the inmate information page. Here's a fun game to play. Let's see what the Wayback Machine has for this website. Let's go back to early 2023. Okay, this is making me think that my initial theory that the websites listed at the top left were their newer launched sites, maybe that's not the case. So yeah, even at the September 2023, this website was pretty much the same layout and stuff. This website's been around for a while in this form. Let's check the Lions Bank's website on the Wayback Machine. And not every website's going to get picked up by archive.org, but a lot of websites do. Oh yeah, this one goes back a long time. Let's go back to 2023 here. I don't know if I should break this out into like a separate video, because I'm no longer criticizing the main site of the marketing company. I'm just doing research to try and learn some more about the websites that they have listed on their portfolio page. So yeah, the footer is pretty much the same, but the favicon is a little different. So that's an Elementor button link. This used to be a WordPress website, and it is not a WordPress website now, because we looked earlier here, got the Laravel web framework. There is no WordPress in here. I wonder if I could eventually find a website on this massive list of websites that they used as that example, where in 2019 it looked like every page of the website was probably throwing a server error. I don't know. I don't know what else to do right now as far as a video goes. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and run an audit on this site too. Just because this one, at least last year, this one was running on WordPress and was probably not managed or maintained by Evolution Marketing. Okay, so we're still on Elementor here in January of 2024, so this is a more recently launched website. And I'm not going to let I'm not going to keep recording until this is done and go more in depth here, but I can tell you, just at this point, it's already not strictly passing my audit. We've got 9 pages with multiple H1s on them. We've got 75 pages with HTTP links. No index and no follow probably aren't big deals. The canonicalized probably aren't a big deal either. H1 missing on 39 pages. You know what? I am going to check out one of those pages that's missing an H1. So yeah. And again, we're still on this Laravel web framework. There's no WordPress in here. But I'm kind of like hypothesizing in my mind, this possibly happened because they copied a bunch of pages over from the WordPress website without actually changing any of the content in any way. But if someone would have just run an audit on the website similar to what I have been able to do here, they would have found pages that are missing an H1. I mean, this about LNB should be an H1 because it's the first heading on the page. And we've got 359 pages with non-sequential H1s. So let's look at one of those pages. And as I look at the text on the page, what do you think? What do you think? 1, 2, 3 H1s maybe? Oh, no, that's not what's that is what's going on here, but they've got H4 in their mega menu stuff and H5. Wow. Wow, no, don't do that. Do not. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. All right. I was not expecting that. This is always going to be a problem this way because your headings in your mega menu, while it might seem like that's a good idea to do, these are always going to come before your H1 on every page. Wow. So that's why, yeah, you don't want to do this. Man. You don't want to do this if you care about passing like an audit like I'm doing. If you don't care, then go ahead and do it. It's fine. You know, there are people out there that don't care about separating presentation from semantics. And their websites, I'm sure, are just fine as far as Google cares. Because Google has been dealing with that kind of garbage since the day they started. Every search engine does. No matter how good a website looks, you know, to your eyeballs, that is never indicative at all at how technically correct the code underlying everything is. It just doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. There are websites that look amazing, you know, to me and normal people, amazing. But the underlying code is just a bunch of garbage. And it's a bunch of things that are done either wrong or at least in a non-standard kind of way. But on the same token, you can come across a website that looks like absolute garbage, but it's 1000% technically correct underneath the hood. And part of that, especially like it's more of a trend for a website to look like garbage while being technically correct. Part of that trend, reason, whatever, I think is people that care about the underlying technical correctness of things. They care a lot more about that kind of stuff than they do about the visual design appeal to normal people kind of stuff. And yeah, there's a little bit of that in myself, and that's why I think that way. But yeah, I'm gonna kill this recording. I've been going for an hour and 40 minutes here, so what am I doing? I don't have a job right now, so. But this is the kind of stuff that it's like I feel like I need to stop saying anything along the lines of this is what I enjoy doing, because that's not 100% true. Enjoy is not really the right word for it, but it's something that I can really get into. I can understand. I know I can fix these problems if I'm given the access necessary to be able to fix them. I will find a way to fix these problems. But if the stakeholders behind this website don't care about those problems, there's no point in ever looking for someone like me, I guess. And I believe there are many such cases of that being true.